in Carrollwood, there's a group of people from Argentina, tons of them that live over there. I posted a flyer in the Argentinian, Tampa Bay Argentinian group of people saying in Spanish. Then one girl called me, this is 4 years ago. She says, hey, I'm from Colombia, but my husband is from Argentina. We want to buy a house. I sold them the house in Carrollwood. They referred me to the brother from Argentina, married to another girl. Then I sold them a house, and I told them, I think you guys want to be in Carrollwood, not in Riverview, newer homes. No, we want to be close here. Well, guess what? 2 years after, this brother goes, we want to move to Riverview. So I sold, they bought, and they are like, yeah, after a year, we want to do the same. And I just closed with them on a brand new house last week. So from those, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 deals just from them.
All right, what's going on? Welcome back to the Happy Agent Podcast here on the BE3 World, and I am one of your hosts today, Jeff Beggins again, sitting here with my co-host, my brother, Mr.
Craig Beggins here.
And Mike Puma.
Our resident rapper in the background there.
Yeah, I'll save
Mike
the
Puma.
raps for everyone's sake, but yes, I am here and ready.
Puma hasn't washed his hair in 4 days, so don't worry.
Yeah, well, hey, we're in the middle of a pandemic, all right? It's fine.
That's right. We are still just for interesting times in the Corona world, and we're all at our respective houses, except Laura's in their office. Looks like there. And so we have a really cool agent on this podcast with us, and it's Laura Wulf. And Laura is a great example of a lot, right? What you're doing right. I think your background is awesome. I think the things you're doing now to be successful after 6 years in this business is going to be an inspiration to a lot of people who are watching, for how to have trials and tribulations and self-doubt and fears and all the things you've overcome. So thank you for taking time to be with us today, Laura.
Yeah, you're an inspiration to many people, and it's so cool to watch you actually absorb the stuff we're talking about and actually implement. I wish everyone could be like you do. It's awesome.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy.
Great. So Laura, give the viewers kind of a little background. Let's start back in Argentina, because that's where your story originates from, which I think is kind of cool. And you had a cool background with your family, a little bit in this industry, a little what similarities and differences, and kind of what your path was that led you to here. So bring us on the journey.
Yes. So when I go back a little bit on time, my mom was in real estate. So probably I was 11 years old. And so she used to help open houses. So I would just sit and be with her for, 3-4 hours and just watch her. So that's what my first introduction into real estate. Then life happens, and then I started to, I went to college and 2 years of law. And then life happened again, and then I started to fly for Argentina Airlines. So I did that for 5 years, and I always enjoy meeting people, different people. So then I met my husband. I moved to the US, and then I did retail work, for a while.
Where did you meet your husband?
In Venezuela, in Caracas.
In Venezuela?
Yes, I had a flight from Buenos Aires to Venezuela, and he was flying from Miami to Venezuela. Yeah.
All right. And so he was a pretty good salesperson and brought you back to
He's gonna. Yeah. So that's how.
Okay. So now you find yourself in the States, and where are you living?
We were living first in North Miami Beach, always along the coast, but we were on the East Coast, and we were, North Miami Beach. And then from there, we purchased our first home in Naples. We loved it, beautiful. And then we had to move to Virginia for 5 years. So I worked in the school system, and I did a little bit of retail, but then we didn't like the weather. Like many people who moved to Florida, it was just too cold for us. 5 years was enough. So then we came back to Florida, and we love Tampa. It's very good. So we did that.
How did you end up in Tampa, just out of curiosity, from North Miami to Naples to Virginia, and then back to Tampa? How did Tampa end up where you guys ended up?
it's just amazing. And it's very centrally located in Florida. It's easier to fly anywhere for him, for his job. But then for us, you have all the different beaches and, having Disney and everything is very central. And we love the Gulf. Yeah, the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, so it was very easy decision.
And how long ago, when did you move to Tampa?
I think it was probably 11 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, then I did a little bit of retail work, and I did that for 3 years. And then that's exactly when I started to get my license for real estate, and I was doing both. So for probably the first 2 years, I was working in both retail and real estate. And then I took the leap, and I'm thinking, this is it. I'm good.
That was cool.
That was about 6.5 years ago, and you started your career with C21 Beggins, right?
Yes, yeah.
How much real estate were you able to sell while also doing, retail part-time?
Yeah, well, it was crazy because the part-time retail was only weekends, and with real estate, you have to be off. So it was crazy. I would be showing houses, let's say in the morning, and then working retail in the afternoon. So it was very, it was a conflict. And then real estate was heavier and I had more demands. So then I just had to step away. And actually I broke my foot, and I was mowing my yard. I broke my foot, so I couldn't do the retail anymore. And so that was the
good
thing.
excuse.
Yes. Well, actually, it was a signal from above that I had to just quit retail and just go for real estate. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so you get into real estate, you take the leap out of retail and you say, I'm going to do this. My mom did it. I can see it's working. You've had your personality is great. You like connecting with people, and you just kind of made that leap. How was it when you first started? How long did it take you to kind of get the swing of things because you're brand new, you don't really, the market a little bit from living here. You didn't know much about real estate because it's very different selling real estate here than in Argentina.
Oh, yeah, it's very different. But so I think in the very beginning, I had a partner and we were working together. And then I think there was a time in life where you just have to be outside your comfort zone and just go for it. And I knew I had it. I knew I wanted to do it. And if you keep doing the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. And I wanted to get different results. And I'm thinking the only way to do it is just go for it and do it for myself. And that's when everything started to change.
Let me ask you, Laura. So, you want to go up? A lot of real estate people are in the business, but don't have to work to make money. Mm-hmm. And this is no discount to you, but your husband's a pilot. You can live on his salary. You don't really have to do as much as you're doing. But you told us earlier that you set a goal to make masters by 6 months this year. Yeah. Right? And masters, for those watching, is $150,000. It's the entry. It's the pathway to Centurion. So to make $150,000 in the first 6 months of the year means you're tracking making $300,000.
I think, right? And it's good that you asked that. I think it's because in Argentina, when I was there before I met Eric, my life was pretty set. Being a flight attendant in Argentina, it's a wonderful job. And so I had that with me. When I came here, I had to start all over again. And I'm thinking, what I'm going to do? So real estate gave me that. Real estate gave me the confidence. I wanted to be someone, wanted to feel and have the passion for something that I could do, by myself and for myself. And I think that that's a difference. Yeah, I may not need the financing because I have a husband and he provides and all that, but I wanted to do this for myself. I can do this, and that's it. I think the fulfillment and happiness. Yeah.
That's what I was going to
reason.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would just want to rewind the words that she was saying before, because I think communication is so powerful, right? And then what she kept saying is, I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to go for it, just kind of make it happen. And she kept saying it. And I'm glad you asked that question, Craig, because I was going to uncover what that it was, because it was I can do it, right? I'm.
Yeah, I have the freedom. I did it for myself because, I mean, the reason, one of the things is when you move from another country, especially to the USA, and you are married to an American guy, and oh yeah, you know, she's under him, or no, but you know, she's following him. No, I'm doing this for myself. You know, this is me, this is who I am, and I'm gonna fight for it. And yeah, I had a goal, and I'm thinking I want to accomplish this in 6 months, and I got very upset when this COVID happened, and I'm thinking, no, I'm going to do it regardless, you know, what happens. There's nothing that's going to be, and I have his support, you know, he supports me 1,000%, so that helps.
Well, you're also a mother of 2 twin boys that are, what are they, 11 now?
No, they just turned 13, teenagers.
13.
Yes.
2 teenage boys too.
Yes.
You're crushing it in real estate, taking care of 2 teenage boys, now teaching homeschooling.
Homeschooling.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Pressure, yes.
You need one more job, I think. I don't
know.
think you have enough jobs right now.
But
So-
when, yeah.
No, I said your reason why, like your it is so awesome, because you cannot create that and you can't stop it, right? Once you get determined, and there's a lot of great, powerful women in this real estate industry, right? And I think a lot of driving forces, watch what I can do, right?
Mhm.
This is me. This is my time. I'm not in the shadow. This is it. Watch me, right? And I think that's such a cool thing, because you've really owned it and become your own self, and are really doing well on this one. And Craig,
Well,
you get to work with.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Craig gets to work more closely with Laura on this one. From how have you seen her path and the path to grow over the last 6 years? Where has she really excelled in this business, and what's kind of made her a super top producer?
Well, one, her commitment is amazing. So I want to start with one of the things I'm most proud of her for. You know, we do a lot of farming, geographic farming. Laura owns her market. Maybe you could tell us a story about the listing you took from another agent. That was you know that one? I love that story.
Yeah, so there are a few agents, and particularly this couple, I went to a presentation of this family that lived right next door to them. So I did my listing preview and it went wonderful. Then I went to the listing presentation. So we sat down, everything is good. And she goes, well, Laura, just, you know, the neighbors next door, they are agents too, and they are, you know, willing to do everything that, you know, they're saying that you will do, but for 2% less than what you're asking, but what you are saying. And I said, well, and I said, yeah, but they don't offer the same type of representation that I do. And, you know, so then we went through all that, and the husband looked at the wife and she said, yes, I'm ready. So they signed the listing agreement right there. So I don't think it's just the money, it's just being able to communicate with people and to listen to what they say. And, you know, first obstacle, I think, with them saying, well, why don't you do this? And it was like, well, doesn't know how I work, you know, and if they're willing to do that, imagine how they will negotiate for your house. You know, it's simple, and, you know, everything started to click to them, and that's how, yeah.
So Laura shows up, she participates, and she implements, and she practices, and she trains. I mean, she's just a perfect agent. And so your farm, your geographic farm,
Yes.
you blanket it. I mean, you just, it's listing after listing after listing.
Yeah.
How many listings are you carrying right now?
Now I have 8, not only in Bahia Lakes, but now I have 8. I have 11 pending, not 9, because I just closed 9, but I have 3 more coming up. And I have the listing presentation on Monday is in Bahia Lakes, yeah, 2. And
I mean, how many agents would be confident in their career if you had 8 listings? And these aren't like listings that sit on the market. These are listings that will get multiple offers in the first week on the market. It's just that hot 250-ish price range flying off the shelf.
Yeah. That's how it is. And but yeah, Bahia has been, and then also I think people crave for just to tell them the things the way they are, and I think sometimes agents don't do that, maybe because they are afraid, they are scared. But then last week I had a conversation with someone that and they didn't see the big picture. And after I spoke with them, then I told my husband, maybe I'm fired and they want to buy with me. And I said, and I told them, hey, and I said, I'm not talking to you as an agent, I'm talking to you as a human being, and they were very open things. Well, I sent them like 3 voice messages, and I was just talking, and then at the end she replied, and I'm thinking, oh God, I could see she was typing. I'm thinking, oh God. But then she replied, bye, thank you, you're very sweet, you found your call in life.
Nice. Therapist.
But I was trying them to see, and people feel that, I think, I'm not trying to sell, I'm not attached to the outcome. If it goes through and you're happy, wonderful. If it's not, let's go find something else. But you need to see what you're missing the point, in here. And I think that, but yeah, that was a close one.
This to me, though, is all a result of going back to one thing, and that is when you really want it, you want it for you, to your core, you will do it, right? When you want to lose weight and you want it for you, you will do it. When you're trying to do it because you think somebody else is going to want you to do it, it won't work, right? And so that is something that Laura has taken and just completely executed on. But execution's so much easier when she's doing something for her that she truly, to her core, wants to do. And then when you layer in her skill set on top of it, then it's game over. And that's how you end up with having 8 listings. That's how you end up on track to do $150,000 in the first 6 months, even with a pandemic going on in the background. So I just want to make that point that if you're not having success, you got to look in the mirror. It is probably because you are doing it for the wrong reason. You don't want it bad enough. And that's hard to say sometimes, but it's the truth. You don't want it, or you would execute on it. So I just want to prove that point.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit more from a marketing.
Good.
From a marketing perspective, and what I love some of the things that you're doing. Maybe Mike, maybe you can kind of guide through and talk with Laura about some of the marketing strategies from a social media perspective that she's using that really helped her create that ownership of that market. Now, you couldn't do this to all of Tampa Bay, but you really are able to niche down. So why don't you kind of guide through that, Mike, from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I want Laura to speak to how she's executing, but for the people watching, if you don't follow her, we'll put her links to her socials in the description of the video below. So be sure to go follow her, watch her, because we have almost 400 agents in our brokerage, and I'm, as Laura knows, for the last 2.5 years, I've been preaching, get on Facebook, build your brand. Here's how you do it. And, there's a handful that try. There's few that actually execute and actually follow the advice to the level that Laura does. And she was doing it before I even got there. So it's not me, but just following her, I've seen what is possible if you actually say, you know what, I'm not going to try and attract everyone. I'm just going to attract people that live in this market because I know it and I can help them, and not being afraid to niche down because you've done it with your clothing line. You got to show the pants real quick. They got to see them. They got to see your bright colored pants that you're wearing. Yeah, they got to see. Okay. So she has owned that niche, right? So Laura, why don't you talk about how you've done that? Because you've followed strategies that are proven, but you've actually gone and executed it so that you can own a market and build your brand. So why don't you talk about how you've done that?
Yes, I think, with Bahia Lakes, because I live there too, and I created a Facebook group that's called Bahia Lakes Residents. So the main thing is interacting with people, and you have shared that in many videos. And it's not only that I have that, but I have different groups of people. I have a group of Lily Pulitzer girls that I am running a page in the Tampa Bay, and I have, I believe, 200 ladies. So whichever, but there's something that you have to enjoy what you're doing. If you put me probably in a group of Facebook that people are doing crafting, I will not be successful because I don't like crafting. So, but if you find something that you like, whatever it is, if music, whatever it is, cooking, just go and engage people who like the same things that you like. I think that's a secret, because then you're not working, you are just enjoying. It becomes a hobby. You enjoy spending time with people who like the same things that you like. So then everything comes together. But you have to be consistent. That's number one. You have to be consistent all the time and keep doing it. And even though if doors closes, you just have to keep going. And sometimes, I think the mistake is that people give up too easy. And when I say too easy, it's not just, I posted 3 times and nothing happens. No, you just have to be doing it for 6 months and create a connection, connecting, talking, engaging with the people. And then the rest is, is history. Then you just take off. But it takes time to build that trust. That's number one. People, they need to trust you. And that's where everything starts, I think. Yeah. But
100%.
I do it with Lily Pulitzer too. And I thought, wow, I have 2 friends that are crazy about Lily that live in different states. I already had conversations through Messenger with them. They want to move to Florida, this past month. So because they can't believe of this and that. And I have now 2 other friends that live in Chicago. They're coming next month and we're going to stay at the St. Pearl just to enjoy, the weekend. So it's just, but you have to enjoy what you're doing, because
it's
otherwise,
authentic. Yeah, it's authentic, right? Yeah. And that authenticity, to your point, consistency is number 1, authenticity is number 2, and then patience, right? And you alluded to all 3. Those 3 things have got to go together when it comes to building a brand, and you've done that. And the proof is in the pudding, and I guarantee you, and you nailed it. The best part about it is, if no one from your Lily group ever did any business with you, you still would love it because you love the brand, right? You love interacting with other people who love the brand. So that is super powerful. And I'm glad we were able to get that point across.
Hey, Laura, for our audience sake, why don't you give us an example of how much time you spend daily between your videoing and your posting and your social commenting? How many hours a day would you say you're spending doing that?
The timing, to be honest, I wouldn't know. I know first thing when I wake up in the morning, I have to check Facebook just to see what I have in mind, what I have in the Lily page, if there's something there, and then in the Bahia Lakes one. Then I log off, and then I go several times a day. Yeah. And then, I post listings that I have or information through real estate. So just to know the time, but I know the moments I wake up until I go to bed. Yeah, I just stay logged on my phone. Yeah.
Well, we were talking in the office one day. I think you told me it was like 3 hours a day, probably.
Probably if you put everything, it could be, a lot.
So that's the commitment we're talking about if you're going to have a social strategy to build a brand, which you've done.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I want to hone in real quick. Strategy, social strategy. She's not going in, and I'm sure she does, but for business sake, she's not going in and just randomly looking and commenting, and she's not doing it randomly. She's going in with a strategic plan to say, you know what, I'm going to bring value and connect with other people who live in this area who like these things. Strategy, right? And that's why it'll pay off for her versus those that are going in and just either just surfing through and not engaging at all, or just randomly doing it, or doing it once today, and then they're going to go do it Friday, and then they might do it next Monday. That's the difference, right? And so I want to make that point. She has a social strategy. Social media can absolutely help facilitate your business. Laura's proof of that. But there's got to be a strategy involved to it, and she's got one.
Yeah, and I go also to different pages from, Tampa groups and see what's happening around Tampa. I take all that content and I put it on Bahia Lakes, not just about over here, because I sell houses also in Carrollwood. I have in Carrollwood, there's a group of people from Argentina, tons of them that live over there. So, and one time, that's exactly how, with this family, I think I already have with these 2 families, like 6 transactions. I posted a flyer in the Argentinian, Tampa Bay Argentinian group of people saying in Spanish. Then one girl called me, this is 4 years ago. She said, hey, I'm from Colombia, but my husband is from Argentina. We want to buy a house. I sold them the house in Carrollwood. They referred me to the brother from Argentina, married to another girl. Then I sold them a house, and I told them, I think you guys want to be in Carrollwood, not in Riverview, newer homes. No, we want to be close here. Well, guess what? 2 years after, this brother goes, we want to move to Riverview. So I sold, they bought, and they are like, yeah, after a year, we want to do the same. And I just closed with them on a brand new house last week. So from those, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 deals just from them. But then, of course, I had to engage in the Argentinian group on Facebook and put, flyers, content, introducing myself. And now I'm part of the Argentina Tampa Chamber of Commerce in Tampa. I'm there too, I don't know. But yeah, it's cool. Yeah. That's
amazing. What I notice is Laura smiles, right? She's happy. She likes her life. And I want to dig into this for a second, because there's a lot of people that don't, because they haven't ever found their truth, right? And what Laura has done amazingly well is embrace the fact that this is an attract and repel world, right? And she put a stake in the ground. She goes, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care if they like my clothes or not. I don't care if they like my attitude or not. This is me, and I'm going to attract people that like me, because people like people who are like themselves. People like to do business with people who are like themselves. So you've just broadcasted you and repelled a bunch of people and attracted a lot of people, and you embrace both of those things. But now the people you're surrounded yourself with, you like. Yes. And they like you and you like them. And the people that don't want to be around you, you don't even know, because they're gone. Right?
Who did I repel with my clothing?
Who wouldn't like Laura? Who wouldn't possibly? There's a tribe.
Unrebellable.
This is the fun part, though, because too many people try to play it safe and in the middle, and try to be so politically correct or balanced so more people will like them. And in reality, they're so vanilla, and it's unattractive to everybody because you don't stand for anything. So way too many people are trying to attract more by being nothing, when all they really have to do is just be themselves and attract the people that they want. Right? And you're just such a great example of that truth that I think too many people just shy away from. Like, that's one of the strategies, the biggest strategy inside of our brokerage is we've got huge goals and growth strategies that we're doing from a company perspective. And it's 100% built on this, right? Yeah. If you don't think it's cool having a rapper looking white dude sitting in the back with his hat on backwards, who's pushing out social content, talking about stuff, then unsubscribe. But if you think it's entertaining and it's got some value, you'll like it, right? The same thing. If you don't like guys wearing blue shirts all the time, then change it. Doesn't matter, right? But we are what we are. And you, from an agent perspective, I think are such a great inspiration to say, this is the clothes, these are the people, this is the area, this is the town, this is where I like to go, and here's why, and here's the car I'm going to go buy, right? Yes. And if you don't like it, I don't care. That's what I love about you.
But what if the people like it, or new people will like it, and you have a new set of people that has happened too. You go through life, and people come and go, but then since I have been introduced to, it's funny to say this, but how a brand, a clothing line, can introduce you to a new different world. I was just introduced last year to go to Palm Beach to a Lily convention, and I went, and now I have 280. So it's like crazy. Yeah, some people may not like it, but there's a door out there that there's thousands of them that will, and I'm going for it.
But I want to point out too, though, that positivity is so important in this business always, right? And now more than ever, we are going obviously through something pretty crazy here, but Laura has never stopped, right? And we were talking about this the other day. I've seen it with my kids, right? Their perception, because they block out all the other noise, the stress, everything that happens, from right now, they're not watching the news, right? They're not hearing the negativity that a lot of the world is spreading. And so because of that, their perception, they just go about their day. They're happy. It's just another day, right? They can go do what they love. They're around each other. They're with their parents. They can still talk to their friends. Like, it's different, but their world is still happy. And you have done that as an adult, which is harder because we do have the news and we do have these other things pulling at us. But one thing Laura does extremely well is no matter what is happening, and I'm sure she has her bad days, although we've never seen them, she is always smiling, and that comes across to her clients. She is the calming voice at all times to her clients, right? And that's not to say that you can't have a bad day as an agent, but what that is to say is you directly impact the way other people are going to respond to you and to the situation. And when you call and you're confident and you're happy and she's bubbly like she is, and she's saying, no, everything's great, I don't know what you're talking about, I'm still selling homes, blah, blah, and she can go and do her thing, guess what? It's going to fill those people with that same exact feeling. And that is so powerful. And so maybe you can talk to that. How, obviously you're human, you have bad days, but how do you, is that a strategy? Is that something you think about? How are you able to maintain that positivity?
Maybe this sounds shallow, but I just had, what was it, on Tuesday, I was planning, I work for this stuff. I love this stuff. Every year I go with my best friend to a cruise, and we just got the news that it was canceled for July. I was going to a cruise, I don't care, I'm thinking in July we're going. And we got the news that they were canceling, and that was awful, you know, because the Italy trip to Palm Beach canceled, my cruise canceled, and everything's canceling, and that hit me. And then I'm thinking, how I'm you know, I always say this to people when they're working with me, and I work for them. When something closes, when a door closes, something bigger is gonna open. You don't see it now, but it's gonna happen. And so if I'm preaching that to them, when it's, you know, it happens to you, that's when I get to my, you know, what I get to my head. This is happening for a reason, and I may not know it now, but it will come through. I listen to, on top of Tony Robbins that I love, but to TD Jakes, and he has been, I listen to him probably every day when I go for my walks, and he brings me a lot of possibility. And I like to surround myself with people like that, you know, and you can tell, you know, Lily, everything is bright and happy. So I like to surround myself with people like that. I like to surround myself with groups of Tony Robbins, because everyone has the same positivity and the same outlook. So there's no way, if you surround yourself with the right people, then I think that pushes you through. Hey, hold on a second, you forgot that, you know, things are going to be okay. You can book another cruise, you know, it's not gonna die, you know, you can do, but at the moment you don't see it, but then you just overcome that. And that's, I think, how, and I just shake it off. I don't see the negative, and something negative happens, okay, how can I fix it? Let's fix it. Stop wasting time, you know, walking around, going the same thing over and over. How do we fix this? And that's the, you know, I don't quit. There's never, I had actually, this reminds me of that, a customer that last month, the loan was not going good. So then he calls me, and then he goes, well, see, Laura, this is not good. If I knew this was going to happen. And I said, Sergio, and I said, you called the wrong person. You know, you didn't hire me to quit. I am not a quitter, and I'm not gonna let you quit. We're gonna get through this. Just put yourself together. And I said, come on, let's go. And then that was it. You know, and then it's just, it's all in your minds. And like you were saying, I don't watch the news. Why are you going to watch the news? And depending which channel you're watching, you get the different, you know, response. Or who are you going to believe? No, go my path. And then that's how the push, I listen to Tony or to TD Jakes, and then that's it. I'm on track. You know, that's how I think I get it. Yeah.
Love it.
So what, to those, we've got a great following of agents watching this from all different, across the country, and different actually countries as well, watching this thing. What's the biggest advice you can give to agents who are looking to reach the level you have, as far as establish themselves in a market to actually do it? Like, what would your advice be to agents who are looking to actually become really known and a brand inside of their actual target market? How would you advise them to start?
I would just be true to yourself. Like you were saying earlier, just don't try to put yourself, you know, behind something that is not a true person. When I meet someone, I'm showing house actually this evening, and when I met them, they called for one of my listings. And when I meet someone, they're going to work for me. There's no doubt, because no one is going to work harder. You have to work hard. You have to push yourself and do it and be true to yourself. I think if you're trying to pretend, oh, look, that, you can get ideas from other agents, but at the end, you have to do what works for you, because no one is competing. I'm not competing with anyone by myself, the fears that I have inside me. So if I push through them, then you're fine, and just do them. I don't procrastinate. I have a schedule. I know we talk about a lot of schedules, and on my calendar, I don't have the times of when I have to do this and that, but I know there's 10 items that I have to do: marketing and making flyers for a property, showings for this person, a home inspection. I look at my dates, so I have to touch all these things on a daily basis, and then I take them on. People know sometimes they put it, oh, we can do that tomorrow. I don't do things tomorrow. I do them today. And I think that's one of the things you have to do if you want to be successful. Don't let things for tomorrow to happen tomorrow. Do them today. And that was a huge change for me. I think just get the things done. Whatever you need to do marketing, go and do your marketing today. There's nothing, oh, well, I don't know, you just wasted 10 seconds. You could be, typing, make. That's what it is. That's the way I see it. But,
We just got Zoom bombed.
We did. Yes, we did.
I love what you actually, what you just said, Laura. I think is one of the coolest statements, though. You realize completely that your only competition are the fears that you have inside of you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So and that's probably the biggest statement that most people don't understand, is the only thing you ever compete with is the fear that's trapped inside your head. That's the only thing that ever holds you back. So
Yes.
what do you do to counteract that drunk monkey, whatever you want to call it, in your head, the negative fear that holds you back? What are some of the things that you do other than listening to great things as well? How does goals or visions or the things that you actually accomplish, how does that kind of help you counteract the fear in your brain?
Well, when I went to Tony Robbins,
Mm-hmm.
to that in November, that thought, and I thought, if I'm going to be, and a simple thing, walking on coils on fire, then you have to be prepared at that moment to do it. So then, and I did it, and I was committed to it, and I said, yes, I'm going to do it, and it's done. So when something tries to push me down, I just make my move and I go for it, and it changes. It's like a blank thing, very much like a robotic thing, but yeah, I just push it away, because you know what happens? When I was in my 20s, I was too scared of doing so many things. Then when I reached to my 30s, I look back and I said, why didn't I do this, earlier? And I'm now 41. I don't want to be 50. I'm thinking, why didn't I do this, when I was 40? So I don't want, and time flies. So I don't want to step back anymore. Just go for it. And yeah, and just think about that, walking on fire, and just go. There's no fear.
I love it. I think what's also, I think, is important, and what you do very well is you have to, this is a tough business, as positive as you want to stay. We deal with emotions, and we plug into our people, and we deal with their heartbreaks, their fears, their doubts, their anxieties, and everything, and they're plugged into our world. So it's important to kind of disconnect a little bit from that and take care of yourself with some things. So what are some of the things you started to do to spoil yourself, and what's the event or milestones that have you go do some cool things for yourself? Well, how do you reward yourself?
For the first time, around my birthday in February, for the first time, I went to the Sand Pearl and in Clearwater Beach, and I told Eric, I'm going to book a spa day. So I just went the first time ever. Went there and I drove to the resort, and it was amazing. I spent there like 7 hours, and then I went back home all refreshed. So yeah, that's one of the things that I like to. Yeah, and the little trips here and there with friends, yeah.
And then, so real important question, what is the actual color of the Bentley that you're going to have to buy?
It's going to be black with a white interior, and with the pink black, yeah.
You see the visualization? So that's the fun part. It's just why? Because she can. And you have to have that goal, and you know how much it's going to cost you. And you know what you need to do to go get it, and you're already on track to be able to go buy one of those by the end of this year. But we have
to go film her when she goes to buy it.
Yeah.
Because we have to go with you in the dealership. Craig will co-sign, and we'll go. And
like that, yeah.
No, you're
It's on
paying
video.
cash.
It's on video. You have to. But we have to go film that because that'll be an awesome moment.
Yes.
When are you getting it, Laura?
Probably soon. I could do it now if I wanted to. Look at that. but there goes some back. I want to do a few things on the house first. Because we're not gonna move. We love our view, the sunsets and everything. So I told Eric, okay, we should get a new kitchen and update the house. So we're doing that. But first, I think that's more important, I think, for me now. But that's something that, it's gonna happen. I know, I can see myself driving it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the important part. The only reason she doesn't have it yet is a fear that's stuck inside of her head, right? Because you could do the kitchen also, and you could do the other upgrades also. And so it's a little bit of BS that you're telling yourself. So we wouldn't be us if we didn't call that out. So what you need to do is get your butt to the Bentley dealership, and then we're going to go meet you there with the camera crew, and we're going to go follow the whole thing. Because, hey, why are you going to wait till you're 42? When you're going to be looking back, said, I should have got this when I was 41. You can. You know what to do with it. You know who to call. You've probably been and looked at them. So these are the things, guys. And what happens to your mindset when you cruise around in that Bentley, right? How do you feel? What do you look like? What is the internal just juice and the adrenaline and just that energy and that emotions and the things that just come with the, yes, I did it. And then looking back to the 22-year-old version of you in Buenos Aires to today, right? And you just see all the things you've accomplished because you could do it. Right. That's the stuff that drives us, guys. That's the stuff that I get so pumped up for, is I just want to see you cruising in that. Up Gulf Boulevard, up to the Sand Pearl, you and Eric going to spend a great weekend there. And that'll put a big ass smile on your face. Look, it's already there. Look at that smile.
It's always there.
So, but guys, these are the things. You got to get these goals and you got to do it and get out of your own way. Squash the fears and just go get it just because you can. And you've worked very hard for yourself, and you're a phenomenal agent. Your customers love you. Your testimonials are off the chart, and you're an inspiration to a lot of people. So I really appreciate you taking the time with us here today. And Craig, anything else to add for that?
Nope. I wish there's 1,000 of you like people like you. She doesn't have a bad day. And sometimes we have some pretty hard conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Next, boom.
Parting thoughts, Mr. Puma, parting thoughts?
Just that I've never been more terrified of someone who's so positive and small. She could, I feel like she could literally take all three of us down in a fight right now with like not even sweating. So she terrifies me, but she's such a badass agent that I really do hope that people who watch this get inspired and realize that it's really anything is possible, but they've got to execute, and she's proven that. So thanks for being on.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you,
guys. Thanks for your time. Thank you very much. All right, guys, thank you for watching. And again, Laura Wulf will have her contact if you guys want to connect with her on Instagram or Facebook. I'm sure you follow what she's doing. She's doing great things. And you'll get to see her cruising in the Bentley very, very shortly.
Yes, we'll have that video.
One.